Hello and welcome to this video where we're looking at School AI. School AI can be accessed by Googling or schoolai.com. It markets itself as an all-in-one AI platform. Basically, it's a controlled version of ChatGPT at its heart for students to get help with specific subject areas or spaces, as School AI calls it. And you can obviously customize your own. So in order to sign in, you can, or sign up, it is completely free for teachers. You can sign up through email or a Google account. Once you're signed in, you will come across this dashboard. So a few things to unpack here, and we'll do a more in-depth video on School AI as well. For the moment, I'm going to take you through what these spaces look like. So the kind of general space, they call it the sidekick. If we click on that, you will see that you've got some options to give sidekick, instructions, be more specific about how you want it to interact with students. Their free account gives you 150 participants interacting with us per day, which is heaps. I've never got even close to using that. But they do have some more school-wide focused plans as well. And you've also got the option to have a more advanced AI on these higher end plans. But the standard I haven't had any issues with as well. So you can tell Sidekick how you want it to relate to your students. We'll get into this a little bit more in my personal one that I've created. And you can tell it a little bit about your class as well in these more options and any sort of rules that you want specifically. Once you've done that, you can share the space with other teachers or students, or you can launch straight away. I'm going to go back and show you my space in a second. But what you can do is you can discover these different spaces. So some of these are really useful for specific things. If you want a space that specializes in exit tickets, for instance, where you have students do this on their way out as a last activity, then you can absolutely, this one's a great one. You can filter by year level, subject as well. So plenty to look at here, and it shows that spaces that other teachers have created as well. So we've got some really specific ones here. And yeah, having a look at this, we can sort of dive into any of them there, as well as doing a bit of a search. So if you were to click create, then you can create your own. The one I've created is for my psychology class. I call him PsychBot, and I've actually created an AI image and given him a bit of a persona like this, as you can see. So if you have a look at my options, in fact, what we might do is navigate to some of the different spaces that I've launched. Going into here, we can have a look. You can actually see all of the interactions that your students have had. So, and it gives you a bit of a snapshot of how they're traveling here. So we've got a few duplicates of students kind of coming in and out at different times here. Possibly not the best way to use it. But yes, certainly an option. If I wanted to edit this space, I'll show you how I've set it up. So I've given it a really lengthy AI prompt, told it that it specializes in the Victorian curriculum, which is where I'm based, in Australia, Unit 3 Psychology, and then I've just simply put in the study design, so the curriculum dot points here that we're kind of focusing on. As well as some other things. I've asked it at the start of each interaction to give students a list of different topics that we've covered that I'd like them to review, or they can choose which to review. And then I've also given it just a couple of funny things as well. So I've kind of said anytime someone mentions Mr. Gissing, and they will play around and be a little bit silly at times, the bot is designed to get them back on track, but being a little bit funny with how they bring up my name. And I've also put their names into there as well. So just so they can have sort of a more personalized touch But the whole aim of it is to provide revision, guide them in directions that will help them with areas that they might be struggling with, which I'll show you if we have a look at the preview here. And you can see that, yeah, it's giving that list that I wanted it to give, and students can pick something that we've studied that they'd like to focus on. So let's just, for instance, say the gut-brain axis is where this student's struggling a bit. And then PsychBot will kind of push them in a direction to, or understand a little bit more about where they're struggling. So asking them to say, what do they already know? And giving them a bit of a question. So it's designed to, I guess, provide feedback within the context of asking questions, understanding where they're at, and kind of helping them along that journey. As long as they're taking it seriously and actually interacting properly, then it can be a really great revision tool. So save and launch. This gives you a link as well as a QR code. Students, if you share this link with students, then you'll find this is how it looks for them. Now, the great thing about this, and why I'd highly recommend it over ChatGPT, is around the data collection. Students are not having to sign up. It works a little bit like a Kahoot, where you're not capturing the student's information apart from they're entering a name. Doesn't even have to be you know, their actual name, and they've got their code for this specific space here. Cool, and this is what they see. Okay, so then they'll interact with PsychBot here. As I said, I use it as a bit of a revision tool, but there are plenty of other ways that you can use it. It's a really great way to help students with sort of individualized learning, especially if I'm away. It can almost substitute, to a certain extent, a teacher in the classroom. So certainly something that's really interesting. We've only really just scratched the surface of School AI though. So that's a little bit of a overview of kind of how to use the spaces. One of the really interesting things is that we can get really good feedback and we can monitor their chats. So you can see, as I showed you before, that Emily's seeking simple and clear explanations of psychological concepts and showing a strong interest in understanding the material. That doesn't give us a lot, but there is, you know, more specific, you know, Bella is seeking to understand what benign positive is in the context of stress, for instance. So, you know, it's potentially something she's struggling with. If we look at groups here, we can also sort of, it does a good job usually of sort of placing them into groups of students that are either struggling or kind of engaging really well. So again, another way that you can sort of give a little bit of feedback to students, but certainly worth exploring a little bit more. In the next video, we will have a look at some more advanced features of School AI and some of the other things that it can do. So thanks for now.